You are bleeding out, and you do not even realize it. Right now, as you sit there, your energy, your focus, your time, and your resources are being siphoned away by people who will not remember your name when you are gone. You have been conditioned from birth to believe that self-sacrifice is a virtue. They told you that being a good person means putting others first. They lied to you. They fed you this lie because a population of self-sacrificing martyrs is easy to control, easy to exploit, and easy to discard. The reality, the cold, unfiltered truth that Niccolo Machiavelli understood centuries ago, is that the world is a predatory environment. The moment you prioritize the needs of another above your own, you expose your throat. You become prey. You think your generosity is building a safety net. You think that by giving your time, your money, your emotional labor to your friends, your family, your employer, you are creating a ledger of favors that will be repaid when you stumble. This is the greatest delusion of the modern mind. There is no ledger. The universe does not keep score. Human beings are inherently wired for self-preservation, and the moment your usefulness expires, their loyalty evaporates. Do not look away from this truth. Accept it. Embrace it. It is not pessimistic. It is the ultimate liberation. When you stop expecting others to save you, you finally realize that you are the only one who can. You must build an impenetrable fortress around your mind, your ambitions, and your energy. You must become unapologetically, ruthlessly focused on your own ascent. Everything else is noise. Everyone else is a distraction. The first step toward acquiring true power is not acquiring wealth or status. It is severing the invisible strings of obligation that society has tied around your limbs. You are a puppet, dancing to the tune of other people's expectations. Cut the strings. Principle number 1. The illusion of mutual sacrifice. Consider the mechanics of a favor. You perform an act of sacrifice for another person. You expend time, capital, or energy. In your mind, an invisible contract is forged. You believe you have deposited goodwill into a bank, and you expect to make a withdrawal when your own winter arrives. This is a fatal miscalculation. Human memory is entirely self-serving. The moment your sacrifice is complete, the receiver's mind begins to rewrite the narrative. They will convince themselves that they deserved your help, that it was not a significant effort on your part, or that they would have survived without it. By the time you need them, your deposit has been erased from their ledger entirely. This is not because people are inherently evil. It is because they are biologically wired to prioritize their own survival. Gratitude is a burden. It implies debt, and human beings despise the feeling of being indebted. Therefore, their ego will eradicate the memory of your generosity, to free them from the weight of obligation. When you finally ask for their help, they will view your request not as the calling in of a debt, but as an unwarranted imposition. They will resent you for asking. They will find excuses. They will offer hollow apologies. And you will be left standing in the cold, realizing that you burned your own firewood to keep someone else warm, and now you must freeze. Stop building these invisible ledgers. They exist only in your mind. Every act of sacrifice you make must be viewed as capital, permanently destroyed. If you cannot afford to set that time or money on fire, do not give it away. You must operate on the assumption that no one will ever return a favor. When you internalize this cold reality, your behavior changes instantly. You stop bleeding out your resources. You stop acting out of a desperate subconscious desire to build a safety net made of other people. There is no safety net. There is only the ground, and your ability to stand on it. You must hoard your resources. Your time is a non-renewable currency. Every hour you spend listening to a friend complain about a problem they refuse to fix is an hour stolen from your own empire. Every dollar you lend to someone who cannot manage their own finances is a dollar removed from your own security. You must become intensely selfish with your assets. Selfishness is not a character flaw. It is a survival mechanism. The people who call you selfish are simply upset that you are no longer making yourself available to be used. Let them be upset. Their disappointment is not your problem. Your only problem is your own advancement, your own security, and your own power. Principle number 2. The weaponization of morality. You must understand that morality, as it is taught to the masses, is a mechanism of control. Concepts of good and evil, right and wrong, selfish and selfless, are constructs designed to keep the herd moving in the same direction. Those at the top of the hierarchy, the truly powerful, do not operate by these rules. They use these rules to control the people below them. When an employer tells you that you need to be a team player, they are not asking for camaraderie. They are asking you to donate your unpaid labor to increase their profit margins. They are weaponizing the moral concept of loyalty to extract free work from you. When a family member tells you that blood is thicker than water, they are not expressing love. They are demanding that you tolerate their toxic behavior and sacrifice your own peace of mind simply because you share genetic material. They are weaponizing the moral concept of family duty to keep you chained to their dysfunction. You have been taught to feel guilt when you put yourself first. Guilt is the poison of the weak. It is an artificial emotion injected into your psyche by a society that needs you to be compliant. Every time you feel guilt for saying no, every time you feel guilt for choosing your own sleep over someone else's crisis, every time you feel guilt for walking away from a relationship that drains you, you are succumbing to their programming. You must rip this programming out of your mind. You must analyze your guilt objectively. Ask yourself, who benefits from my guilt right now? The answer is never you. The answer is always the person trying to extract something from you. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must be prepared to act against mercy, against faith, against humanity, against frankness, against religion, in order to preserve the state. You are your own state. You are the ruler of your own life. You must be willing to act against the artificial moral constraints that society has placed upon you in order to preserve your energy, your focus, and your sanity. You must look at the people trying to shame you and realize that their shame is a weapon. Do not let it penetrate your armor. Refuse to feel bad for surviving. Refuse to apologize for winning. Refuse to be manipulated by people who use morality as a leash to drag you backward into their own mediocrity. Comment, I am no longer controlled by guilt. Write it down, make it a declaration, and let it sever the chains of manipulation that have held you back for years. Principle number 3. The fortress of emotional autonomy. You are currently entirely too dependent on external validation. You want people to like you. You want people to think you are smart, capable, and kind. You want the applause of the crowd. This desire makes you exceptionally fragile. When you crave the approval of others, you hand them the remote control to your emotional state. If they praise you, you feel high. If they criticize you, you collapse. You are completely at the mercy of their unstable, self-interested opinions. This is a pathetic way to live. To acquire true power, you must construct a fortress of emotional autonomy. You must become completely indifferent to both praise and criticism. Praise is dangerous because it makes you comfortable. It lulls you into a false sense of security. When people flatter you, they are often trying to soften you up, to make you malleable, to prepare you for a request. Criticism is dangerous because it distracts you. It forces you into a defensive posture, wasting your energy trying to prove yourself to people whose opinions do not matter. You must sever your emotional tether to the outside world. Your self-worth must be generated entirely from within. It must be based on your own uncompromising standards, your own discipline, and your own achievements. When you achieve this state of emotional autonomy, you become untouchable. People will try to insult you, and it will bounce off you like a rock off a titanium wall. People will try to flatter you, and you will see right through their manipulation. You will move through the world with a cold, calculating clarity. You will make decisions based purely on logic and self-interest, rather than a desperate need to be liked. The reality is that most people are not paying attention to you anyway. They are obsessed with themselves. They are worrying about their own insecurities, their own bills, their own status. You are a minor character in their movie. Why are you contorting your life to impress people who are barely aware of your existence? Stop performing for an empty theater. Direct all of that energy inward. Validate yourself. Approve of yourself. When you become your own judge and jury, the opinions of the masses become nothing more than background noise. You will be called arrogant. You will be called cold. Embrace the labels. A warm, approachable person is an easily manipulated person. A cold, autonomous person is a dangerous person. Choose to be dangerous. Choose to be impenetrable. Choose to rely entirely on your own internal architecture for support. Principle number 4. The strategic allocation of focus. Your attention is the most valuable asset you possess. It is more valuable than your money. You can always make more money, but you can never manufacture more time or attention. Your focus is the life force that builds your empire. Yet, you throw it away like garbage. You give it to social media algorithms designed to hijack your dopamine. You give it to the daily news cycle, which is engineered to keep you in a state of perpetual outrage and fear. You give it to co-workers gossiping about trivial nonsense. You give it to friends who constantly manufacture drama because they are bored with their own lives. Every second of focus you direct toward these external distractions is a second stolen from your own growth. You are leaking power from 1,000 tiny holes. You must plug the leaks. You must become absolutely ruthless with your attention. Machiavelli understood that a leader who is distracted by the minor squabbles of the peasantry will soon lose the kingdom. You are losing your kingdom. You must execute a complete audit of where your attention goes every single day. Look at your phone usage. Look at the conversations you participate in. Look at the thoughts you allow to loop in your head. Ask yourself, does this serve me? Does this increase my power, my wealth, or my intellect? If the answer is no, you must eliminate it with extreme prejudice. Do not politely distance yourself from distractions. Cut them off abruptly. Unfollow the accounts that anger you. Stop responding to the texts that drag you into drama. Walk away from the conversations that offer no strategic value. You must create an intellectual vacuum, a space of utter silence where your only focus is your own ascent. When you consolidate your attention and direct it entirely toward a single, selfish goal, the results will terrify you. You will accomplish in months what takes others decades. You will see opportunities that the distracted masses miss completely. You will develop a psychological edge that makes you impossible to compete with. But this requires discipline. It requires you to be comfortable being perceived as distant, uninterested, and obsessed. You must be obsessed. Obsession is a requirement for greatness. And you cannot be obsessed with your own success if you are constantly monitoring the lives of everyone else. Turn your eyes away from the crowd. Fixate entirely on the summit. Let the people below you squabble and gossip. Let them waste their life force on things they cannot control. You control your focus, and therefore, you control your destiny. Principle number 5. The calculated mask of conformity. Focusing only on yourself does not mean walking around acting like an aggressive tyrant. That is a tactical error. Overt hostility draws unnecessary attention. It creates enemies prematurely. It creates resistance where none needs to exist. Machiavelli famously advised that one must play the fox to recognize traps, and the lion to frighten wolves. Most of the time, you must be the fox. You must wear the mask of conformity. You must appear agreeable, polite, and cooperative. You must smile at the right times, nod at the right times, and say the things that make people feel comfortable. But beneath the mask, your mind must remain icy and detached. You are simulating social grace while calculating your next move. When you master the mask, you can move through society with zero friction. People will think you are on their side. They will lower their guard. They will give you information. They will offer you opportunities. And all the while, you are extracting what you need and serving only your own agenda. This requires immense emotional control. You will encounter people who are stupid, arrogant, and insulting. Your instinct will be to correct them, to put them in their place, to assert your dominance. Suppress that instinct. Arguing with a fool is a waste of your valuable energy. It provides you with no strategic advantage. Instead, agree with the fool, stroke their ego, let them feel important. Their inflated ego will eventually cause them to make a fatal mistake, and you will be perfectly positioned to capitalize on it. You must learn to separate your internal reality from your external presentation. Do not wear your heart on your sleeve. Do not broadcast your intentions. Move in silence. Let people assume you are ordinary. Let them underestimate your ambition. Underestimation is the greatest gift your enemies can give you. When they think you are harmless, they stop monitoring you. They leave the back door open, and that is when you strike. You strike not with physical violence, but with calculated, decisive action that secures your objective. The mask allows you to navigate the complex social dynamics of the corporate world, the political arena, and even your own family, without ever compromising your core selfish objectives. You are an infiltrator. You are playing their game, using their rules, to achieve your own independent victory. Do not confuse politeness with loyalty. You can be exceedingly polite to someone while simultaneously planning to dismantle their entire operation if it serves your interests. Keep the mask tight. Never let it slip. Let them see only what you want them to see. Principle number 6. The ruthless audit of the inner circle. Look at the people closest to you. Look at your friends, your colleagues, your partner. Are they pushing you upward, or are they dragging you downward? Most people tolerate dead weight in their inner circle out of a misplaced sense of loyalty or a fear of loneliness. They hold on to friendships from childhood simply because they have known the person a long time. Time is not a justification for a relationship. Value is the only justification. If a person in your life is not actively contributing to your power, your wealth, your peace, or your intellect, they are an energetic parasite. You must recognize them for what they are. There are the complainers, who use you as an emotional dumping ground but never take your advice. There are the competitors, who disguise their envy as banter and constantly try to undermine your confidence. There are the dependents, who refuse to take responsibility for their own lives and expect you to continually bail them out. You cannot carry these people up the mountain. If you try, they will pull you off the cliff. You must perform a ruthless audit of your inner circle. You must categorize everyone in your life based on their utility and their energetic cost. If the cost outweighs the utility, you must amputate the relationship. This sounds cold. It is cold. Power is cold. You do not need to have a dramatic confrontation. You do not need to explain yourself. Explanations invite arguments, and arguments drain energy. Simply withdraw your attention. Stop calling. Stop texting. When they reach out, be busy. Be unavailable. Gradually fade out of their reality. They will eventually find a new host to attach themselves to. You must guard your inner circle like an elite military compound. Entry must be earned, and it must be continually justified. If someone betrays your trust, if someone disrespects your boundaries, if someone proves to be a liability, they are expelled immediately and permanently. No second chances. No benefit of the doubt. The moment you compromise on this, you signal to everyone around you that your boundaries are negotiable. They are not negotiable. By clearing out the dead weight, you create physical and emotional space for high-value individuals to enter your life. But even then, remember the prime directive. Even your most valuable allies are temporary. You must never become so attached to an ally that their sudden departure would cripple you. Enjoy their company, utilize their skills, collaborate for mutual benefit, but always maintain your structural independence. You are the sole architect of your empire. Everyone else is just a contractor. Principle number 7. The fallacy of fixed identity. Society demands that you be consistent. They want you to define yourself, to pick a label, to adhere to a specific set of beliefs and behaviors. They want you to be predictable. A predictable person is a controllable person. If they know exactly how you will react in any given situation, they can manipulate the variables to force your reaction. You must refuse to be predictable. You must reject the concept of a fixed identity. Machiavelli observed that a successful ruler must adapt his nature to the times. You must become fluid. You must become a shapeshifter. Your identity should not be a rigid monument. It should be a tool that you deploy based on the tactical requirements of the moment. Today, you might need to be the aggressive negotiator, pounding the table and making demands. Tomorrow, you might need to be the quiet observer, blending into the background and gathering intel. You must be willing to abandon your past beliefs, your past strategies, and your past associations the moment they no longer serve your ultimate objective. People will accuse you of being a hypocrite. They will say you have changed. They will say you are inconsistent. Let them talk. Their accusations are just the sound of their own confusion. They are frustrated because their old methods of controlling you no longer work. You owe no loyalty to the person you were yesterday. You only owe loyalty to the power you are accumulating today. If a strategy fails, discard it instantly, without emotional attachment. If a belief is proven weak, crush it and adopt a stronger one. Never defend a losing position just to save face. Pride is a vulnerability. The ego wants to be right. The Machiavellian mind wants to win. There is a massive difference. The ego will bankrupt a company to prove a point. The Machiavellian mind will publicly admit fault, pivot the strategy, and quietly acquire the competitor. You must detach your sense of self from your actions. Your actions are just instruments. You are the cold intelligence wielding the instruments. By remaining entirely fluid and detached, you become impossible to corner. You become an anomaly in a world of rigid, predictable machines. Comment, I expect nothing, I control everything. Type those words. Internalize the reality that absolute control over your own adaptability is the only security you will ever possess. Principle number 8. The strategic use of silence. In a world obsessed with broadcasting every thought, every emotion, and every meal, silence is the ultimate weapon of the self-interested mind. When you speak, you reveal your position. You reveal your desires, your fears, your strategies, and your weaknesses. You hand your enemies the exact blueprints they need to destroy you. People talk because they are insecure. They talk to fill the void. They talk to prove how smart they are. This is a fatal vulnerability. You must master the art of silence. You must learn to sit in a room full of people and say absolutely nothing. Watch how uncomfortable it makes them. Watch how they scramble to fill the silence, revealing their own insecurities and dropping valuable information in the process. When you restrict your words, the words you do speak carry immense weight. People lean in. They listen. They assume you know more than you do. Silence projects power. It creates an aura of unpredictability. Your competitors cannot plan against you if they do not know what you are doing. Keep your ambitions locked inside your own skull. Do not tell your friends about your new business idea. Do not tell your co-workers about your plan to secure the promotion. Do not announce your next move until it is already executed and the victory is secured. Let your results do the talking. The element of surprise is a massive tactical advantage. When you operate in silence, you eliminate the possibility of sabotage. You eliminate the negative energy of jealous peers trying to talk you out of your goals. You eliminate the pressure of external expectations. You create a dark room where you can develop your strategies in absolute peace. Furthermore, silence is the ultimate response to provocation. When someone insults you, disrespects you, or attempts to drag you into a conflict, your silence is more devastating than any retaliatory strike. It signals absolute contempt. It tells them that they are so far beneath you that they do not even warrant a verbal response. It starves them of the reaction they are desperately seeking. Practice silence daily. Bite your tongue. Observe more. Speak less. Hoard your information like gold. Let the world guess what you are thinking. The less they know, the more power you hold. Principle number 9. The dark alchemy of isolation. To truly focus only on yourself, you must become intimately comfortable with isolation. The crowd is a chaotic, irrational entity that demands conformity and punishes excellence. To achieve extraordinary power, you must separate yourself from the crowd. You must retreat into the wilderness of your own mind. Isolation is not loneliness. Loneliness is a state of lack. It is the pain of wanting company and not having it. Isolation is a strategic choice. It is the deliberate removal of external influence to cultivate supreme internal clarity. When you are alone, the noise of society fades away. You stop hearing the limiting beliefs of your parents. You stop hearing the cynical complaints of your peers. You stop hearing the manufactured panic of the media. In this silence, you can finally hear your own cold, unfiltered logic. Isolation is the forge where mental toughness is built. It forces you to confront your own weaknesses, your own fears, and your own inadequacies, without the distraction of a social safety net. You must endure this confrontation. You must strip away all the comforting lies you tell yourself and analyze your life with brutal objectivity. This process is painful, but it is necessary. It burns away the dead wood. It leaves only the solid iron of your true capabilities. Machiavelli was exiled from his beloved Florence. He was stripped of his position, his status, and his social circle. He was forced into isolation. But it was in this dark, isolated period that he wrote The Prince. He turned his exile into the ultimate weapon, distilling his political genius into a manual for power that would last centuries. You must view your own periods of isolation as a training ground. Do not run from it. Do not numb it with meaningless entertainment or desperate socializing. Lean into it. Use the solitude to read, to plan, to strengthen your body, and to sharpen your mind. Learn to be completely self-sufficient. When you realize that you can survive and thrive entirely on your own, you become fearless. The threat of abandonment loses all its power over you. If a partner leaves, you remain standing. If an employer fires you, you remain standing. If society turns its back on you, you remain standing. You become a monolithic structure, requiring no external support. This is the dark alchemy of isolation. It transforms the fear of being alone into the invincibility of standing apart. Principle number 10. The unapologetic sovereign. We have reached the final layer. The culmination of this entire philosophy is absolute sovereignty. You are the center of your universe. Everything and everyone else revolves around you, or they are ejected from your orbit. You must entirely reject the notion that you owe the world anything. You did not ask to be born into this chaotic, predatory system. You owe society no debt. You owe your parents no debt. You owe your country no debt. The only debt you owe is to your own potential. You are obligated to become the most powerful, capable, and formidable version of yourself. This requires a level of selfishness that will shock the average person. You must prioritize your health, your wealth, your intellect, and your peace above all other considerations. If an opportunity benefits you, take it. Do not hesitate, because it might disadvantage someone else. They would not hesitate if the roles were reversed. The business world, the political world, the social world, they are all zero-sum games. For you to win, someone else must lose. Accept this reality. Do not shrink from it. Do not try to play a soft, cooperative game in a world dominated by apex predators. Become the apex predator. This does not mean you must be cruel. Cruelty is inefficient. It means you must be coldly rational. You help others only when it serves your own long-term strategy. You form alliances only when they multiply your own power. You give only when the return on investment is guaranteed and substantial. You operate entirely from a position of calculated leverage. This is the path of the sovereign. It is a lonely path, a difficult path, and a deeply misunderstood path. But it is the only path that guarantees you will never be a victim, never be a pawn, and never be forgotten. You must strip away the final remnants of your conditioning. Look in the mirror and recognize the only person who will save you, the only person who will fight for you, and the only person whose survival truly matters. The world will try to pull you back. They will call you toxic. They will try to shame you back into submission. Let them choke on their own mediocrity while you ascend to the throne of your own life. Focus only on yourself. Forget about everyone else. They are not coming to save you. They are only coming to feed on you. Starve them. You have been given the blueprint. The choice to remain a sacrificial lamb or to become the architect of your own power is entirely yours. If you are ready to sever the strings and claim your sovereignty, subscribe to this channel. The weak will click away. The ruthless will remain. We are building an empire of individuals who understand the true nature of power. Join us.